Okay, so let's take a look at this lesson. So I want to know if the speed of the particle is increasing or decreasing. So I need to find out what v of 5.5 is. And I also need to figure out what a of 5.5 is. So when I find out v, so v, I'm going to plug in 5.5 into t. And then I'm going to do the same thing for a. Cosine of e to the 5.5 over 4. Okay, so, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a calculator to evaluate this. So now you got that your v of 5.5 was negative 0.453, and you got that your acceleration was negative 1.359. Again, you're going to want to round to 3 decimal places. We show that they are both less than 0, so the speed of the particle is decreasing because v of 5.5 is less than 0 and a of 5.5 is less than 0. Okay, so now we're going to move on to average velocity. So average velocity, we're actually going to use the average value theorem from a previous lesson. So we're going to do 1 over b minus a antiderivative from a to b, and it's going to be a v of t dt. Think about this. What ends up happening is you get the change in position, which is that integral over the change in time. So when I want to do average velocity, I'm going to do 1 over 2 minus 0, antiderivative from 0 to 2, of my velocity equation, which is 2 sine e to the t over 4. Plus 1 dt. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug that into the calculator to calculate my average value. And now what I get when I plug it into the calculator is 2.892. All right, so now I want the total distance traveled, which because I'm using a calculator, it's pretty easy. Because I can have the calculator do all the work for me. So I'm going to go from 0 to 6, and it's going to be the absolute value of 2 sine e of t over 4 plus 1. Remember, total distance traveled, I have to figure out what the when the particle is moving to the left and make that distance positive so that I don't get displacement. But the absolute value here will take care of that for me. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use the calculator, and we get 12.573. Okay, so now I'm going to jump right into our problem set. Okay, so velocity and acceleration at time t. So I take a derivative. So that is sine, cosine of e to the t times the derivative of e to the t, which is itself. So this is e to the t cosine e to the t. Okay, that is my velocity. My acceleration is going to be a quotient rule. So cosine of e to the t times the derivative of e to the t, which is itself, plus the e to the t times the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine of e to the t times e to the t. Okay, so my acceleration, in case we need it, let's clean it up a little bit. Cosine e to the t, and then minus e to the 2t sine e to the t. Okay, so I want to know when the particle first has 0 velocity. So I'm going to set this equal to 0, the velocity equation. So my calculator got me 0.452. And then I'm going to want my acceleration at that particular value of t. So I want a of 0.452, which is e to the 0.452 cosine e to the 0.452, and then minus e to the 2 times 0.452, and then sine of e to the 0.452. Okay, so now I'm going to use my calculator to get my acceleration value. So I get negative 2.470. Okay, and that is it for this lesson. Plugging in this last one is pretty straightforward when you do your cosine. But to get E, so you see what I did, I have my answer here. To get E, it's this E right here, where I just like randomly put an E. But we can go down here. So if I wanted E to the X, that's how I would do it. So I would go to the ABC part. Exponent is the A to the B power. And then that will give you your exponents. And then other than that, your trig functions are in here under functions. And then that's pretty straightforward as far as calculation is concerned when you're doing that E1. So when you use Desmos to calculate your velocity, it is the same thing. Like you're just doing like 2 times the function for sine is in the function part. Your E is in the ABC, E to the, 5.5. I should put this in parentheses. 5.5 divided by 4, close the, just kidding. Close the parentheses there, close the parentheses here. And then you're doing your plus 1, and then that gives you your negative 4.533, whatever. And then we just round it. I could do the same exact thing when I have the other one. And I could, very straightforward, 1 divided by 2, and then times e to the parentheses 5.5 divided by 4. Oops, just kidding. 4, close the parentheses, and then we're multiplying this by cosine function. Cosine e to the parentheses 5.5 divided by 4. Close that parentheses. Oops. I'm missing a 5 there. What's the chance I can get back? Probably slim and none. So let's just do it again. 5.5 divided by 4. You know how much I love calculators. I've already told you guys. And then parentheses. So then I get negative 1.3585. And I'm going to round those to 3 decimal places also. And now when I want to do my antiderivative, right, so I wanted to do, we'll multiply by a half later, but I want to do my antiderivative. My antiderivative is under functions, and then I have to find it there. And I'm going from, 0 to 2. Which it's very hard to get to. 0 to 2. And I wanted, let's see, we're looking at average velocity, so I want my velocity equation, which is 2 sine 2 times, I should put this in parentheses, 2 times sine of e to the x. We'll use x instead of t, and then you want dx. And then that gives you 3.78 whatever, and then you're going to divide that by 2. And I don't want to divide by 2 there. So let's take this and put 1/2 in the front. And I get 1.892. Oh, I forgot a plus 1. That's why I was like, why is this so weird? Plus 1. Okay, there we go. So 2.892, whatever. And we round that to 3 decimal places. Okay, so probably the most important thing is, to show you how to, I'm going to clear all my history out, show you how to do that part B. So we're going to go to y equals first, and I'm going to plug in my velocity equation, which is 2 sine second e to the x divided by 4, close my parentheses, add 1. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to calculate the integral. So I'm going to go math 9, 0 to 2. And then what I want to do is, instead of typing the equation here, I want to recall the equation. So I want to recall what I plugged into y equals. So I'm going to go vars, scroll to the right, hit enter again, and then go x. And I wanted that divided by 2, so now I'm going to divide it by 2, and I get my answer. So this vars key and scrolling to the right to get function recalls anything I plugged into y1, y2, y3, y4, y5, which is really important when it comes to making sure you guys don't have any graphing calculator errors. Okay, now the next one I want to do is, I already still have my velocity equation here, but I want to do that other one where we're doing the absolute value. So math 9, I'm going to go from 0 to 6 is the one that I wanted. And then I want to do absolute value. So easiest way to do absolute value, and it is somewhere embedded somewhere, but if I go second catalog, ABS, which stands for absolute value, comes up first. So that's the easiest thing to do. I want to recall the equation that's in y1, so I go vars, scroll to the right, enter again, and then I do dx, and I hit enter, and that gives me the total distance traveled.